Everyone, get ready, y'all. Get ready. It's coming, y'all. The lovely, the incredible Wanda be right here on IntellectualRadio.com. My name is Earl Winfrey, and it's time. It's showtime.
What was that? Okay. Hey, it's me, Wanda B. You are tuned into He Said, She Said, and Wanda B with the buzz on IntellectualRadio.com. Okay.
Where's your Facebook Live?
My Facebook Live, my phone. I need my phone. I didn't come multi. You got to bring a couple utensils to make that work today. I didn't make it work today because I left my laptop. My laptop been having problems. Anybody who followed the show know my laptop. I turned it on, gave it 2 hours this morning. She was still thinking and updating. I was like, oh Lord, she need too much warm up. She need to be stimulated. What they say, some people need some pro things or pre things to get warmed up. My laptop is like a lady. You got to do some foreplay with her for her to get ready for the show. And I didn't have no foreplay. She didn't have no warm-ups. I tried to warm her up. I was talking like, come on, girl. And she still was like, not yet, not yet. She needed a lot of foreplay. I didn't buy no flowers. I didn't buy her nothing extra, no jewelry, nothing that get her warmed up for the show. She wasn't warmed up. So I said, you know what? You're going to have to stay home because she just not ready. So, which means I can't go live. I'm going to take our show. You know what? You can listen to anything on intellectualradio.com in many ways. And so, yes, Facebook Live is one of those ways, but another way is YouTube. And so, if you got me on YouTube, you can go subscribe to YouTube, ring that bell. You see those little bells? When you hit those bells, you get notifications when our shows go live. So you can get the notification that, hey, he said, she said, wanted to be with the buzz is live on intellectualradio.com. If you go hit ring that bell, and if you say, okay, this one bell, I got a notification for this sound like, because you can undo each show. If it's a show you not feeling, you can undo it. But if it's a show you feeling and say, I want to come back for, hit that bell and get the notification when that show comes back on again live. So because I'm live on Spreaker and the audio apps and YouTube, I said, you know what? I don't need to go Facebook Live today because I told you my laptop, she was not getting warmed up. I haven't been loving on her. You know, some things are just like people where you got to put some deposits. You got to make deposits to get things out of them. You got to love on them, show them you love them, tell them you love them. I don't know my laptop's love language. I got to learn her love language because it is not wait 6 months, turn me back on and think she going to pop on and she be ready for the day. That is not her. You will not ignore her for 6 months and come back and think she going to work. That is not my laptop. So it didn't work. Didn't work for me this morning. I tried. Had a Zoom meeting this morning. She was like, nope, I'm not going to be ready for that. And I came an hour earlier than the meeting was at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I said, okay, I'm going to wake up at 8 and get you going. So I was like, oh, let's turn on this button. And she just started thinking and updating and was like, I don't think so. I don't know what you thought. You was just going 1 hour and then expect for me to work fully like that. No, it didn't happen. It didn't work. I thought it would because I thought I was getting there early enough. It shouldn't take a technical thing 1 hour to heat up and warm up, but it surely did take. It didn't take her an hour. I just went back before the show and said, okay, let me see how she feeling. I guess she said, you didn't even check in with me. You didn't even like check in and see since you turned me on at 8 how I've been doing. By 9 o'clock when she wasn't warmed up and I didn't come back to her, I was like, I'm done now. She not ready. I'm over it. And I walked away from her. I guess she said, if you over it, I'm over it. So when I was ready to bring her for the show today, she was over it and I didn't feel like debating it with her. And no more love for it. I left her there. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to go home and be nicer to my laptop. She's been good to me over the last 10 years I've had her. But sometimes you don't use these devices.
Okay. We get it.
You get it.
We get it.
You get my laptop wasn't feeling me this morning.
We get it.
What you get? You give me a new laptop? Y'all, I didn't mention who I'm here with. I'm here with E-Dub. E-Dub, he is, you're not saying you in his house? Go on, give me your line.
E-Dub is in the his. Now, you know what? Now, you're having me on your show right now. I've warned you over and over and over again. I'm liable to say anything. And most likely, I'm going to piss some folks off.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to let you know this now. The disclaimer is out. I'm here on intellectualradio.com. E-Dub is the founder, the creator. We're here at intellectualradio.com because he wanted us to have a say, be able to hear our voices, hear our opinions, and he created this platform. But at the same time, now I want you to go back and look at some of his stuff. He has the Undercover Brother. Some of the stuff he has out on Spreaker. Go look. You never know what's gonna come out of his mouth. So he has put out the disclaimer. He has warned you all that the thoughts are his and not of intellectualradio.com or any of the shows here. He has his own mind, and he doesn't like to get behind the mic because people go, or I will go, why you say that?
Exactly. And plus, I don't want people to think that what I say is a representation of everyone at intellectualradio.com. These are just Earl's views.
And he's a very opinionated
and
person.
I know that they can be ridiculous sometimes.
That his views can be ridiculous, and he has views from. We have changed the way we speak as of 2024. Some things you could say and nobody think anything of. Now in 2024, you say that's not politically correct. He is not politically correct, really. I mean, he's mindful of it. He's not trying to be. It's just that when he go full natural, he's gonna go full natural, old school. So just so you know, he does not want to be
correct. That is correct.
This is not the views of any of our shows. And we have a plethora of shows here at intellectualradio.com. Not only me, but the rest of this day, we have a full lineup of shows. We're going to have the quintessential queens coming on right after me. We have a full lineup of shows today. We've had a lineup this morning. And what he says is purely the thoughts of E-Dub himself and not those of anyone at intellectualradio.com.
You know, Sundays are one of our busiest days right here at intellectualradio.com. We have so many shows. We have shows that start at freaking 1 o'clock and go all the way to freaking 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
It's freaking crazy.
We go the full day. We go 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. We have on Saturdays, we have a few on Saturday. I mean, we really do have a full day of independent broadcasting. Each show is individual to themselves with their own lineup, own guests, own topics.
You know, I want to just say, just left the show. The last show was Marcus Sykes. And what's crazy about Marcus Sykes is he's one of the original Intellectual Radio hosts right here. I mean, I'm talking about way back when I was in the crib.
When you were in your
Sykes
house.
go way, 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 way back. And he's been here 100 times, and he's definitely a part of the Intellectual Radio family. I want to just give a shout out to Marcus Sykes, or should I say comedian Marcus Sykes.
Marcus Sykes. I'm going to give a shout out too, because he predates me. And when I got here, he was here hot and heavy and strong, and he has been here, and he was just on a show. And you call him comedian Marcus Sykes for a reason. I want you to go to Tubi, pull up his name, watch one of his movies. You can catch him on Tubi on some movies. We were just talking about his movie 1-800-Missing. I'm gonna go home and watch it later. So, and tell me your favorite Tubi movie. I love
Tubi.
You love Tubi?
Yes,
a lot of people
Tubi.
are not fans of Tubi. I'm a fan of Tubi. Why do you like Tubi?
Because it's a whole bunch of black crappy movies on there. But I think it's cool because it gives them exposure that normally they wouldn't normally get.
Normally, we wouldn't be able to. There's tons of actresses and actresses out here that don't get their shine, but you can pick up a Tubi movie and go, okay, that was good. The storylines are not your typical boy meets girl. They have some misunderstanding and fall out of love, and then try to watch them get back to love after some silly misunderstanding, and they get back. They have some topics and storylines that you go, really? Why? I mean, you'll either be shocked and clutching your pearls because you like, okay, they went there. Or it'll be different and clever. And I think I like that about TV, that you see stuff you would normally see.
I really want to create my own Tubi movie. I really do. I mean, that's a dream of mine. I have a movie on Tubi.
Okay.
I mean, I'm so creative, but I'm a hell of a writer. I want to put something on Tubi, but I'm just too busy. I just don't have time. I'm always doing something. I'm always working.
You're always working.
I just never have.
And I'm gonna give the disclaimer for his movie. When it come out, you're probably gonna be like, "What in the world?" He is a creative, though, just like he founded IntellectualRadio.com. He is a creator. I could list for you the list of concepts and ideas and businesses you have started since I've known you, and I keep track of the list. It's been some I've been like, "What? You want to create somewhere where people go and do what?" And then there's been some like, "Oh gosh, this is a hit if we keep it going." So he is like that. So yeah, we need a disclaimer because I don't know what his movie idea it could be, because he does little skits at home. You may go to his TikTok. You may find some of his little skits. I know I've recorded some of his little skits, and some of them may be out there. During the pandemic when he was stuck in the house, Lord, his wheels were turning. There were little things being recorded all the time. His juices were going. He works hard, and when he finally got they forced him to slow down because there wasn't work to be had, wasn't work to do. And we had to shut down intellectual radio for a spell, and your creative juices were flowing. So catch some of his little movies out there and things that you can find. I know some of them are on TikTok. I know I had one on my TikTok. Uh and well, you playing a guitar, because he also went into learning how to play a guitar, and so his stints of putting out his music, he's dabbled in everything. So if you clutch your pearls, or are you shocked that this man said this, do know this is from the mind of E-Dub, Earl the Other Winfrey, and not of any of the shows or intellectualradio.com, that brand, that actually, even though he has a brand out there.
So what you think about Diddy and his baby oil?
I just told the show that just finished up here today that she said, "What are you going to talk about?" I said, "I got a little list I want to talk about." I said, "But one thing I'm not going to talk about is baby oil." And what is the first thing he does brings up but some baby oil? What I don't like about this whole situation is the guilty by association. Because I'm nosy. Had Diddy invited me to one of these parties, I would have showed up. I'm nosy. If I got the invite, I would have been there. And now my name on blast, I would be on blast because you want to release the list as if I may have not got in the freak mode with everybody.
You
But I'm
know
gonna be
what?
there.
If Diddy got out today and he said, "I'm having a getting out of jail freak party at the crib," and Earl Winfrey, you are invited, you think I ain't going?
You going because you like celebrity, you like that. You going, you may be the one on the slide trying to record bits and pieces here and there. Honestly, I would go before he went to jail for it. I would have, if Diddy
Now you
invited
know
me.
if his flyer says BYOB, you know what that means, right?
Bring your own baby oil.
There you go.
Well, you bring that. Just keep it in your pocket. I get one of those little bottles. I ain't coming with no big bottles. I don't even know what it's all used for, but I would go because I'm nosy. I would have went then because I'm nosy. I would hate though if I'm about to lose my job and be caught up in a court case because I was being nosy. How is that fair? Do you all think that's fair? If you went to one of his parties and you were consenting adults who went to a party, that you now are trash? Are you just trash based on association? What you think? 708-223-8953.
I think
What
it
you
all
think?
depends on what was going down. I mean, if you was there and there was underage kids there, and
Oh yeah, no, I ain't
wait,
got
wait,
nothing to do. I'm gone. I'm gone
then there's a
there.
problem. You know, then if you was there and there was some female who was tied up, it's a problem.
How's
If you,
that a problem? Some women like to be tied up.
but what I'm saying is, you know what I mean by it. She's forcibly tied up.
Forcibly tied up.
But if you're just going and you just being a freak, so he's a super freak. I mean, I don't think there's an issue with that.
You Yeah,
I
but
really
I
don't.
do think if now they said so and so was there. I've heard people drop names as to who attended
That's why
these
you have to be
parties.
careful what you do. You have to be very, very, very careful. Because I'm always careful. Because I know doggone well if I do anything, I know it's gonna be all on freaking
Oh,
CNN.
I'm gonna put it on blast. E-Dub Earl the Other Winfrey was seen at P Diddy's crib getting his freak on. I got a receipt here where he bought baby oil at
You know
Dominance.
what? Every time I see a prostitute on the street, I think to myself,
Potential what?
there's a hidden cam someplace with cops around the corner just waiting.
You like, don't say nothing to her. Don't say
Right.
nothing. Look
And
the other way.
then what's
Don't look her
crazy is
way.
I think that if I say something to her, which I'm not gonna do, but hypothetically speaking, the camera's gonna come out, the cops gonna come out. I'm
Right.
gonna be live on CNN, CBS, WGN. Then not only that, I'm like I do this one time, and they're gonna accuse me of he's been buying prostitutes for the past 30 years. We got him. He was in Detroit buying prostitutes, and he was in freaking California. God, just one time, but no. That's how they do black
But you
folk.
would do it. You're the type of person, if you saw a prostitute who want to interview her, you always like
Oh, yeah,
interview her.
I've done that before.
You have interviewed random people off the streets, and I could see you. And then why you get caught up in a sting because you were trying to interview the wrong person. You always tell me, why didn't you interview
I've
that
done
person?
that before. I picked up a prostitute before, and she said, "What do you want?" I said, "I
See,
want you to tell me about yourself." Put the camera on him.
she don't mind doing
So
it
I've
for
done that.
money.
I've done that before.
If you
I'm
brought out
guilty.
if you brought out money and all she had to do was talk, you an easy customer. I
Yeah,
do it too.
I've done that before.
You would do that. I know you, and you would do that. Anytime I've talked to somebody and it seems like it was an interesting conversation, he goes, "Why didn't you record it?" And I was like, "I don't know if they wanted to be on camera. It was just a conversation. I didn't record it." Now, sometimes I will ask the person when it's like I met someone who had won the lottery and she was saying how she had lost most of the money. And I was like, do you mind if I record this? So sometimes it's warranted, and sometimes I know they tend to not speak candidly when you pull out microphones and they know they're being recorded. They don't speak with candor. So sometimes I'd rather just hear the
You
story.
know,
I'm just that interested.
on my job, I had to give a homeless person a ride home. She works for us, but she was actually homeless. But she's actually staying in a shelter, so I guess she's not homeless. And on the way home, I asked if I could interview her, and she said yes. And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something that's really, really crazy to me. Is that almost every person on this planet has a story to tell. Has a story to tell. Most don't tell it, and most don't listen. But it seems like everybody has a story to tell. You have a story to tell.
I have a story to tell,
I have a
but
story to tell.
everybody isn't always comfortable telling their story. They have to get to a comfortable place with themselves and the story to be able to want to share it. Some people are really taught and have been taught from their families to be private, that their story is not for everybody. What happens at their house stays at their house. Don't tell nobody. That ain't their business. We are sometimes taught not to share our stories. That is nobody's business. And if anybody carries any shame from their story, they may not be prepared to share that story. You have to not care what people think. You have to be in a certain place to make your story your story. To be comfortable to share that story, you have to be very comfortable with
So,
yourself.
Wanda, what's your story?
That's not what I'm here for today. I do share my story on my show, and I have in the past, and I got a whole new story coming. But that's not what I had came here for today. You know what? I've been watching this TV show that I really want to hear people's opinion of. Is love blind? On this show, these people go behind curtains and in separate rooms, and they talk behind these curtains, and then they have these people get married. Then you see each other after you propose. You supposedly fall in love with them without ever seeing what they look like, just talking to them. Then they send you on your honeymoon. You agree to get married. He proposes. You've met them behind, and then they meet each other. They see each other, and you can see in their faces when they open up the curtain and they finally get to see each other. Now they've been telling each other I love you, I love you, I love you. This is a show that's on Netflix. They've been proclaiming their love for the person just from talking to them. They have shared their story. Because honestly, when you are vulnerable like that with your story, it can make people fall in love with you when they can relate to that and your vulnerableness to tell your story and be loving. And it can make people actually fall in love with you. They see the person, and you can see in their eyes that that person is not matching up to what they thought they would look like, and that love is gone instantly. Someone called it catching the ick, where you can get the ick for somebody and it's over. And have you all ever heard of the ick? I think I felt the ick before. And I think that when they explained the ick, I was like, what's the ick? And then I was like, you know what? I think I could deduce what the ick is. So they say they get the ick, and it's all over for them. So I do think that can happen. And so they supposedly though fall in love with each other, sight unseen. So Edub, do you think you could fall in love with somebody sight unseen just for talking to them for 3 weeks behind a
I've
curtain?
made that mistake once and would never make it again.
You made that mistake of falling in love with somebody with sight
Once
unseen.
and would never make it again.
You felt it was a mistake.
Big mistake. She had this voice of an angel. She used to sing to me as I went to sleep. Then I went to see her one day, and I'm like, "You guys to be freaking joking me." I have never in my life felt out of love so quick.
Okay, now I'm gonna say that that's kind of funny. Um, so was it really love? Because can you fall out of love like that? Now the people on this show, I was like, that's a kind of a cool term. They called it the ick. You can get the ick, and she told the guy, she was like, don't do that because I could get the ick. The ick can make you fall, I guess, out of love. But they supposedly, sight unseen, have fallen in love. Now they're supposed to get married. The weddings are in 2 weeks, and some of them have had their first argument. Some of them have not gotten over that they got that ick, or I don't think they were attracted anyway. They've been spending the last 2 weeks. They had a honeymoon in Cabo San Lucas, and they've been trying to fall in love. They've tried to remember the person that they fell in love with, who talked to them at night, and like you said, they fell in love with their voice and their vulnerability and all the things they had in common. And so they now have tried to they've fallen in love supposedly with the person. I don't know if that's love. I don't know. I don't believe in love at first sight. So it's hard for me to really, but I do think talking to somebody, I could really start to like someone talking to them. But I do think I would get an image of what they look like. And then some of them were not really honest because they would give a little hint of what they look like, or they may give their height and they're really not that height, or they would give a something, they would use an adjective about themselves that would then start painting a picture for the other person. They would refer to themselves as being small, and so that would then get the other person on their other side all excited, like, wow, she's this and she's small. And honestly, you go, oh, that's not really an adjective. I think, as I, because we can see her on TV, and I go, oh, I don't know if I use that to describe you. That's what you use to describe yourself. But it then would help people start, even though love was supposed to be blind, they started creating fantasies of what this person looked like based on what they sound like. And whether they thought, because she used small, he pictured her as this petite girl who, and she was not petite, and there's nothing wrong with not being petite necessarily. It's not, and I don't think everyone likes everyone to be the same, but she actually pictured him as being this bit. He said he played football, but if you look at him, you go, you think, okay, I guess in her head, if you play football, you're a big guy, and she's a rather, I don't want to use a big girl. I don't want to use that adjective. She is not, when she used her the like the term of herself being small, is not what you use for her, I don't think. And so he envisioned something for himself. And when he said he played football, envisioned like a linebacker. She envisioned a big, hefty football player. And she's a heftier, that that's not a good adjective either. She's a larger girl. And so when she pictured a big football player, they both in alignment. So they're really falling in love with each other. Now, at the same time, they're dating and seeing other people. So do you think love is blind? So EW, you said you falling for that. You're not falling for that okie doke anymore. What
Never
happened when you
again.
ran into that person that you supposedly loved and you saw what they looked like?
I saw her. I asked her, I'm looking for so and so and so and so. And she said, that's me. And I looked at her and I hit it out. Never looked back.
No, I'm saying
Never looked
this
back.
purely out of love, but it's a fact. EW is the
I'm very superficial.
okay, I was gonna use that word, but I didn't want you to get
I'm very superficial.
he's very superficial, y'all.
Looks are big to me.
Looks are big. If you walk through any crowded place with him, he is about to say a comment. Why does that person have that on? And you go, oh, that's not. But he's very superficial. He doesn't like women in leggings. I'm gonna put that one thing out there and leave it like that. Leggings is not his thing. He calls them compression pants.
That's what they are. They are compression pants.
So
And I get so sick of saying compression pants.
yes, I'm taking a pause on purpose because that will give you, if you paint a visual to how he believes, he truly believes that. He believes that women wear leggings. I'm telling him they're comfortable. Any women that wear leggings know they're not, you're not wearing them to compress necessarily.
Maybe you're not.
Okay, I don't know why other women do, so I'm not going to profess that I know why other women do what they do. I'm going to say that I don't wear them. I wear them because they're extremely comfortable. You don't have to button them. You don't have to zip them. You can eat whatever, and the waistband doesn't feel tight. It moves with you. Any size person could wear them, and at least in my
That's the
opinion.
problem right there
That's
in his eyes.
I did tell you he's superficial, right? That and the disclaimer of what comes out of his mouth is his opinion only, not the opinion of he said, she said with Wanda B, not the opinion of Wanda B with the buzz, not the opinion of intellectualradio.com. Truly that of, and he means no harm though. I don't know how to state that at the same time. It really is like his opinion, just his opinion,
Just my opinion.
just your opinion, but he's very.
So, what do you think about that killing that happened to JJ's a couple of days ago? And people are talking about boycotting JJ's.
Okay, you
Should
guys,
should
I'm going to
should
fill you
we?
in. Wait, let me fill it. Everybody isn't from the Chicagoland area, and I'm going to fill you in when you says that killing in JJ's. Uh, there is a place where you can purchase cooked fish here in Chicago. It's called JJ Fish. They're all over the Chicagoland, the suburbs. They're all over the Chicagoland area. And in one place particular, I'm going to give the address. Usually I don't, but I'm doing this because there is a boycott of this address. I don't want people to go there. So I'm okay with giving the address of 7832 Southwestern. Do not go. I think we're boycotting all JJ Fish, but that one in particular, I do know they're individually owned. So I don't know how I feel about the boycott of all of them. But I do know that some of them own multiple, so that's what made me be kind of okay with the boycott of all of them. But what happened, to fill you in for the people who may not know this story? Now you can go to YouTube, you can probably even go to social media and type in the murders on Western at JJ Fish and watch the video. It was a very vivid video. It was someone, let's say two people who were eating there inside the restaurant. One had a suitcase, started going through the restaurant at the counter, and someone working at the restaurant came out with a gun and shot two men, the one man who had his suitcase there going through, and one man sitting there eating, enjoying his food, had nothing to do with any of this, or at least appeared to have nothing to do with any of this. And he watches the man come out and shoot the other one in his head. The gunman, who is also a worker of this JJ Fish at 78th and Western in Chicago, turns around and aims his gun at him. He's backing away from him. He is no threat to him. He has a gun. It doesn't look like, from watching the video, he has anything to do with any disturbance at this restaurant. They weren't being robbed. This man was sitting and enjoying his food. This is maybe at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is an all-night restaurant, and someone's sitting there enjoying his food who got murdered. The worker of the JJ Fish shot him in his face, shot him in his head right there, cold-blooded. Cold-blooded killed two. I want to say that they are patrons of JJ Fish. I know one was eating food, so I know he was a patron. The other, I don't know if he was a homeless person who had come off the street and was using that JJ Fish as comfort.
Yeah, people say he was homeless.
He was homeless.
Right.
Because he did have a suitcase that looked full of belongings,
Right.
I'd say. And so he did appear to be homeless. I didn't want to put that out there, but the news or people who are reporting on this do say that he's homeless. And the other guy was sitting there. He was a patron of the store, enjoying food, eating his food, minding his own business. And next thing you know, he's murdered. The employee shot him.
Can you imagine just going into JJ to get some chicken? Get your chicken, you order, you pay, you sit down to eat. The next thing you know, your head is blown off.
I mean, you watch
That's
a murder,
totally
and then next
insane.
thing you know,
Totally
someone's pointing a
insane.
gun at you. You can't even think after that I just got murdered here. I'm just sitting minding my business. When the worker came from behind the counter with the gun and shot the first man, it was like, oh my God. I at first didn't want to watch it because I felt it was so vivid. To watch it, it was just the most vivid video to watch, cold-blooded murder. But when he turned around to the man sitting there minding his own business, eating his chicken, fish, or whatever he had ordered at JJ Fish, minding his business, and he just shot him dead. And you hear people say, well, he feared for his life. This man had not gotten up. He did not point a chicken leg at him or anything that appeared to be of a weapon. He just turned his gun to him and shot him cold-blooded in his face.
That is one of the most heinous crimes I think I've ever seen.
It's jarring to watch, and I'm saying this video is out there for you to watch. You could probably even Google it and watch this video. It happened on 78th Street. I believe the exact address is 7832 Southwestern, and they are boycotting. And I agree. The place opened up the next day. We're watching people broadcasting their live videos.
Tyrone Muhammad, who's a host here, he went there and he actually shut the place down. And you know what? In my opinion, I think that's cool to shut the place down. But I do believe they should also Twitter place down. That's just my opinion.
Now, how do I feel about tearing the place down? That they shouldn't be able to open up and start, because you're like, why did they shoot these two men? Why did this worker get to just murder two people in cold blood like that? And there's no, what is the word I'm looking for?
Black folks should have went to their place and tore their sucker down. They should have broke them TVs, took all them pops out of there, took all the chicken, broke them windows out. They should have burnt that place to the ground, in my opinion. That's what they should have done.
And the views of E-Dub, the other
are just the views of E-Dub.
and
I think, but let me just say this right here. Not all JJs, but just that JJs should have been burnt to the ground.
I patronize the JJ that's by my house. It's about 20 miles away from the one that this one happened to. And I would hate for them to be, but I don't know if they're owned by the same people, honestly. So that's why I just need to be quiet on it. But
I think if you feel that JJ should be boycotted across Chicagoland area, you should call in and let us know your opinion. Or should they just boycott just that JJs? What's the number, Wanda?
708-223-8953. We only have 10 more minutes to take calls here, so feel free to call in because we do have more programming coming on here, and I have to get out this hot seat. I'm in the hot seat right now, but I got to get up for Quintessential Queens at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. But I love to hear, do you think all JJ Fish should be boycotted? 708-223-8953. If you say shut them all down, if you feel like they all should be shut down, I'd like to hear from you. I just feel like if I did something and I owned a business, let's say I bought one of those franchises, I own the franchise, I just would hate for another franchise to have something happen that I don't condone, I do not co-sign for, and then I'm penalized because of their actions. That's exactly why I say that the views are those of E-Dub alone and not the views of IntellectualRadio.com, because I would hate that he has views that may not be the views of other shows, and the retaliation for his views comes down on anyone else. And I feel that that's the same criteria, that I would hate to see anybody else, you don't like his views, so now you boycott my show because you're boycotting Intellectual Radio because you don't like his views. And I think some of that is not fair. Now, I think people should be able to discern themselves the difference, but people may not. They may be like, you know what? We want to hurt him, so we'll hurt everything like it. And that could not hurt. I don't think they want to hurt, but they feel like you should pay the price. Why did he get to open up like nothing ever happened? And one of his employees murdered two people, murdered.
And what they say is that when the guy who actually did the killing went to court, they said a staff of the JJs, I'm not sure if it's factual or not, but they said that the staff went into court to support him.
I heard that as well.
That would bother me.
And he got to go and get support. These two people minding their own business, not, or at least the one who was sitting eating his food, went to patronize that store. Then it got to open up the next day, kill people, wipe the blood off the floor, and act like nothing ever happened. Didn't even put up a in memoriam, we're sorry this happened, or no remorse that one of your staff murdered. And they were murdered. Watch the video. It's murdered these two people, and there's no tape around the place as if it's being investigated. It's as if these two people's lives did not matter. It wasn't even, you know how you go drive down the street and you see some flowers left, or you see people start leaving flowers and teddy bears, makeshift in memoriam for that. Nothing. It's as if, and this is people's loved ones. Those men may have been someone's father, someone's brother, definitely someone's child. Both men are the children to somebody. could be the father to somebody, brother to somebody. And for them to act like their lives meant nothing, you open up and keep serving chicken and fish the next day, was shameful. And that the city would let you open up. You cannot have a roach in a place one day and you would be shut down. And but you can murder two people and open up as if these lives didn't matter. So I agree that that place should be shut down. There should be invested. There obviously there was no investigation because there was no tape. The table where the man was shot in cold blood didn't have any tape around it. It was as if his life didn't matter. Did they even know the man's name? They could have put up an in memoriam, something, donate money to his family, something, the neighborhood. Usually the people who patronize these JJ Fishes in the neighborhood are local people. They're local to that neighborhood and they patronize. I know I patronize my local store. They're local to the neighborhood, this should be handled differently. It should have been handled differently. There should be some remorse for your worker murdering someone in cold blood and you feel nothing and keep selling chicken and fish like it never happened the next day. No consoling to your community, the community that you feed. You don't feel you need to say I'm sorry to the community. I know maybe they can't say they're sorry, they don't want to add like they are have any guilt, but you still could show some remorse that this happened in my facility. So what do you think? Should they boycott all of them? Should all JJ Fish be boycotted? 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. You can be anonymous. I love to hear your voice. I'd love to know your opinion. EW, you say they all should be shut down?
Well, I've always felt that businesses who come into these black communities, all of them, not just JJ's, should be shut down. Because unless you support the community or bring something to the community of value, other than just take from the community, I don't think you should be allowed to be in the community. That's just my opinion. Because we as African Americans, we can't go to an Arab community and open up a store and not give back to that community, or that community have some type of involvement in that store. We just can't do it. We can't go up on Devon where all those Indians are and open up a store. We just can't do it. But they get to come into our communities
Flourish,
and open up these,
profit.
Exactly. And then they take the money out of the community,
They don't
leave the
employ
community.
all of us. That many of them don't
They don't
even
really employ
employ
us. They
us.
don't give us, they don't even give us safety. They'll have bulletproof glass, but won't have security. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that this should be a call to action for all of these stores. If you're not benefiting the community, you shouldn't be there. And that's just my opinion. So not just JJ's, they should shut them all these stores down that don't benefit our community. They come in and just take, and never give anything back. Shut them all down.
Because you really don't see other ethnicities really patronizing them as much as we do. And to give back, or to at least feel some solace for us and how we feel. To watch that video and you not care that you've hurt us. If you hurt my brother, if you hurt my people, I hurt. I didn't want to watch that video, and I watched it because if you talk about it sometimes, you want to be educated on the topic and know what you're talking about and know exactly what happened. And so I'm talking about it because I watched it because I wanted to be educated to see if I agreed that he was gunned down. And I absolutely felt that they were murdered. Those two men were murdered. Now, the one, I don't know if he was asked to leave, but I don't think people get to be judge and jury and you should pay your life for trespassing or something like that. I really don't think they shouldn't get a due process that that your conceal and carry means that now you get to murder me if I don't do what you said. Even if they told him, please leave our premises, you're trespassing. The store is open to the public. He's public. You don't know. I don't know if he spent his money there earlier. Maybe he ate there earlier or he ate there yesterday. Or at some point in time, he spent some money he got there. Just because you're homeless doesn't mean you're not privy to someone buying you lunch or that you're not a paying customer, have been, would be in the future. So to gun you down, and the one man was sitting there eating, minding his business. I would like to hear from you. Do you think all JJ Fish should be? You know what? Our other show is here. I'm going to ask her to come in and answer this question for me. Quintessential
Again,
Queen,
you're
come in.
tuned in until he said, she
You're
said,
tuned
Wanda
in, and he
B,
said, she said,
right here on IntellectualRadio.com. We have
yes.
lovely Wanda B, and we also have Speaking with D, who just arrived, and she's going to join the show. Welcome. Please put that mic in front of you, please.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so I have with me
Yes, sir.
Speaking with D. I have D from Quintessential Queens, which is the next show coming up here on IntellectualRadio.com. And I want to ask your opinion, D. So we've been talking about, I don't know if you're privy to or have seen the video of the two gentlemen who were murdered at the JJ Fish on 78th and Western. That's 7832 Southwest. I'm giving out the exact address because I don't want you to go there and eat. We are boycotting that one for sure. We're asking, we're we're conflicted. I'm conflicted. Earl, the other Winfrey, is very secure in his thoughts that don't go to another one, any JJ Fish. I'm
Okay.
saying the one that it actually happened to, only because I do know that they're individually owned. And I do know if something happened in a black community, I don't feel my business should necessarily pay the price for the thoughts and actions of other people that I have no control over. How do you feel about that topic?
You know, when I saw that, at first when they broke that story, they just said, "Oh, two people got shot." Then a couple of days later, the employee shot the customers. Now, I haven't been privy to the video. I haven't seen that video. But when I heard that, I just thought, what a state this world is in. What kind of nonsense is that? You are shooting customers for what? Were they irate? Okay, they don't deserve to be shot. Did they not like their order? They don't deserve to be shot. Is the person behind the counter got some type of mental illness? Well, that's something they need to be looking at. I'm all for boycott.
That store or
I'm
all
all for
JJ
boycott.
Fish?
Definitely that store. I can't personally say would be all of them. I think once you look into it, and if you found out something was system wide that allowed this nonsense, then you could boycott all. But I would definitely boycott that one.
I want that one shut down. I think Tyrone Mohammed of Ex-Cons for Trump, who has some shows here at intellectualradio.com, he went there and had them close up that day. They opened up the next day for business as if their employee had not murdered two people in cold blood the night before. They opened up, no red tape, no flowers out at the table, no dedicating this table to the man we murdered here. It's as if it didn't happen, and they opened up proudly to go hand you some more chicken and hand you some more fish, as if give us more of your money and we'll murder your people, and just keep patronizing us. So I was very proud, and Tyrone has been known. He's committed his life to activism in these type of scenarios. He's done this in the past, and we thank him for going there and shutting them down that day. He told the one employee, she said she was going to go to one of their other locations.
That
She
makes
said, well,
sense.
go ahead and let her go on out and go to the other locations. And he got kind of the names of the other locations, because I do think we maybe should boycott all of that person's locations, not just that JJ Fisher, the one he owns. I hear he owns something else along 79th Street, and I'll get those and put those in the comments, because maybe we should boycott all of his establishments, that owner's establishments. Yes, because he should no longer do business. He opened up as if his employee did not. And at first I didn't want to see the video. I was like, I don't think my heart can take watching people just get shot down. And I said, you know what, you need to watch it if you're going to discuss it. And I watched it, and they were murdered. The one, I don't know if they had asked him to leave the restaurant and he didn't leave, but that's still, you're not the judge and jury. You don't get to convict and murder him because he didn't follow your rules. If you told them to get off, you told him to get off your premises and he didn't, you don't get to murder him. Call the police.
Well, I'm going to say something that might be a bit controversial, but if you've grown up in Black neighborhoods when other nationalities came in and started owning businesses in those neighborhoods, they weren't very respectful of the people in the neighborhood. So this just drops that coin even more, that you can't be too respectful of the people patronizing your business. You have an employee that just killed two people and you don't even shut it down long enough to see what was going on.
Right.
It
There's
should
no
close long
investigation.
enough to find what happened.
I
Why
agree.
is that so? Their families deserve that answer.
But based on what you're saying, it ties into how EW feels. I feel that because so many of these businesses come into our communities and don't give respect. You could be shopping there and shop there all the time, and they don't say good morning, hello, or treat you with a smile. They treat you as if you're about to steal from them, or they treat you a certain way, and you continue to patronize them. So therefore, I think that leads him to say why we should just shut them all down, because that's the history of how they treat us. We should stop doing business with them. And I do believe if you know of a store like that, stop doing business with them. Stop giving them your money. But that particular one and anyone he owns, stop giving. The one at 7832 Southwestern, stop giving him your business. They do not deserve it. They do not. They opened up. There was no, I'm sorry, or no, the owner was not there to greet people and say, to mourn it, to help us mourn it, to us grieve, because this is impactful. If a shooting happens near a school, the teachers say, kids, if you need to talk to anybody, come. We have grief counselors. They didn't offer any grief counseling to the community, to the neighborhood. There was nothing. There was no red tape. As if we're investigating what happened here, we're sorry, or at least till we're done investigating, we'll stay closed. They were open the very next day as if it didn't happen. Come give me your money. And now I don't trust you. I don't trust that you even deserve my money because your employee did it. It wasn't patrons doing this to each other. A shooting happened inside your store. No, an employee who a lot of times these people are relatives, or it's one of your workers. I won't say he's your relative. That sounds very, I'm not trying to be, I don't know whether he was a relative or not, but I know you employed him. So therefore you do have some, what's the word? Responsibility, accountability for the actions of your employees. If they cursed someone out when you gave them a meal and they complained that she cursed me out, you would reprimand them. So if they murder people in your store, where's the accountability to that? Well, you guys, I have to wrap it up. The Quintessential Queens is coming up next with D. They're coming up next at 3 o'clock on intellectualradio.com. I'm telling you, we have great program. I want you to continue to listen. Continue to listen to what you're talking about today, D.
Oh, I have a repeat guest that we're capping on the growing up in the project story that we had not too long ago. So one of those guests is coming back to go over, how she grew up and where she is now, where she started and where she is now. So I think that's what I love this. I heard you when I was coming in. Love it. Just love it.
So thank you for tuning in to intellectualradio.com. He said, she said with me, Wanda B. And I'm always trying to bring you the buzz. Thank you so much. Stay tuned to Quintessential Queens. This conversation, you can go back and listen to the part 1 of this, but this is part 2 she's bringing you today, where they talk about growing up in Chicago, growing up in the projects of Chicago. Tune in for Quintessential Queens coming up here at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on intellectualradio.com.